Hey guys, I'm Susie with Seint Beauty, and I'm here to show you exactly how to use our 3D cream foundations that we have. This is all in my customized palette. This is a triple layer. It's the poolside palette, really cool. A couple of our brushes that I'll show you, but just to show you how quick and easy that this makeup process can be. It's really a foundation system where you just put the colors where you need them. You just apply them in a single layer, and then it just all blends together and you're good to go. So just keep watching, and we're gonna make this really quick. So I'm gonna start by using the buff brush. This brush is dense, and so that means with it being so densely packed, it's gonna give you a fuller coverage as opposed to a brush that has a little bit more fluffy. Then that means that your coverage will be more light, but it can be more airbrushed looking as well. So that's a plus to this. Now this one right here is about a medium coverage, but it is buildable, so you can keep continuing to use it if you wanted a fuller coverage. But this will make the makeup basically sit on top of the brush, and then as you apply it to your face, all of it gets on your face. There's nothing really left on your brush. So we're gonna start with our contour first. And again, so here's my customized palette that I use first, and I'm going to apply the color, I think I'm gonna use the color Astoria today. And I'm just going to kind of swipe it right along the base of my cheekbones. Sometimes I do my highlight first, but I will tell you this. Our contours are just a little, the consistency is not as creamy as our highlights. So with that said, I like to put this on first because what this does is it sits and warms up on the skin. So the longer it sits on your skin, the better. The easier it is to blend. And you don't have to be really super precise with this because the creams are so forgiving. I mean, look how scary that looks, right? Okay, so now I've got my contour on. And see, I even brought it down probably a little too far. It really didn't need to come any further than this right here, but that's okay. With the cream foundation, I can go right over it with the cream, or I can even sweep it away some before I even get started with it. It's fine. Now I'm gonna go in with my main highlight shade. I'm still gonna be using that same end of the brush that I used with my contour, and I'm gonna just tap right into my main highlight shade. And for me, it's the color Sandy. And I'm not really gonna touch much onto this because I'm gonna put my brightener there. But when you're first starting out, sometimes you may get confused on where can I put this and where can I do whatever. So really, you just kind of do with what works for you in the beginning. And then you'll kind of hone in on your own process that works the best for you. I'm sitting on my porch because today it's beautiful weather, the wind's not crazy, and I feel like you can tell such a better application of what it truly looks like on the skin in the most perfect light, which comes from the sun. Just sitting on my porch in the indirect sunlight. And I'm gonna put a little bit right here as well. And as you'll notice, that will also kind of soften up that harsh line that I had, but we'll still blend the rest of that out too. It's kind of all coming together, you know, slowly but surely. And I'll go just a little bit. Even though this is my main shade, I'll go back over because my nose, the skin on my nose is so thin that sometimes it's not easy to cover, so I kind of have to play with that. You know, we don't all have perfect skin. So I'm really not even blended it yet. But now I'm going to flip over to this smaller side, still using the buff brush, and I'm going to go into my brightening color. And I'm going to use the color Sunlit. And I'm just gonna kind of stamp it here. Stamp it, stamp it. This also helps clean up any eyeshadow fallout if you put your eyeshadow on first. And then if you put your eyeshadow on last, like I usually do, whatever's left on the brush, when I lay it down, I just pick it up and clean it up then. When you first get your colors, you don't have to get a palette this big. You can just start off with one that only, you know, holds, I mean, you can go all the way down to 4, but I would always suggest at least getting one that holds 8, if not 12. That way you have room to grow. But then you just have the sides that you can store all your stuff in. And then when you're on the go, hey, I gotta go, you grab a couple things that you need in your mascara and you're good to go. You're out the door. Okay? So now I'm also, with what's left on my brush, I'm gonna take it right here and I'm just gonna kind of do a little extra carving right along where I contoured. Just to sharpen it up a little bit. Now I'm gonna use my blush and bronzer brush. I can usually get this done in about 10 to 15 minutes, especially if I'm not talking. Okay? Make sure you blend out your jawline if you contoured that. Not fixed my hair yet. Can you tell? That's all right. Now that I've got pretty much my face on, it's a 3D. It's not just some kind of flat finish, because I have my contour, a highlight, and then I have my main shade. And I didn't use a lot of product. Even though it looks like it because it's so pigmented when you swap it on, you just do a few swipes here and you barely tap into the cream foundation. Got my blush and bronzer. I'm gonna swirl in. The neighbors are coming. Oh, there's Dixie's behind. They're probably wondering what I'm doing on the porch. Dixie, no. It's talent when your dog can open the door, right? One of our security measures is our dogs, because anytime somebody's up and down the road, we know it. Okay, so now I've bronzed, added a little bit of warmth in. Look at that. I mean, it makes my skin look so pretty. And I don't have pretty skin. All right, now we're gonna do a lip and cheek color. And I think I'm gonna combine. This is Sandstone and this is Baby Watermelon. I love them both. And I really like combining some of my colors. So I'm gonna do Sandstone first because it is my favorite. And then probably Baby Watermelon is my second favorite. So I'm just gonna kind of pop that on here. And see, it's a really pretty, it looks like the color of Sandstone. But it's not scary on as it is in the tin. And sometimes this is all that I do. You know what, I may combine that and my Desert Sunset, which is a gloss. I like to use our glosses too. Some people don't like the consistency of the gloss, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. We have satin finish glosses that are more traditional. They're still cream, but they're more of your traditional feel. And then we have the glosses. So I think I am going to use actually the Desert Sunset. And I'm going to just pop that right over. My Sandstone. It gives such a pretty flush. And with it being a gloss, it gives a little bit of a glow to it. Or a sheen maybe, so that makes it look healthy. Dixie, come here. I thought she was at the door. Come on. Come on. Dixie, come on. Okay, go on. All the other dogs get to play and she's inside. Okay. So now that I have that on, I am going to go right back with my contour color, which was Astoria. I'm going to pop back over to the first layer. I'm going to line my lips. And this is our multitasker brush. I love it. It's really good for putting on eyeshadow or the lip and cheeks. Or anytime that you need any kind of defining. It's got a sharp edge and a small little pointy edge. It works really good. Okay, now I'm going to go back over using that same brush. I'm just going to barely tap into that sandstone and just give a little bit of color to my lips. And it's not really drying because it is cream, but I like to go back over it with a gloss. So I'm just wanting to add a little bit of color here. And then I'm going to go back into this Desert Sunset. These are the two colors that I put on my cheeks. Nice, huh? Okay, and so we have just a few other little things that we're going to do real quick. So I'm going to get my perfector sponge. I'm going to bounce all around, pick up any extra product. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to spray with my setting spray. We're going to let that dry. And then I'm going to take back to my sponge, and then I'm going to just pop it right into this setting powder. This is our Vanilla Dust. I'm going to put it right up under my eyes. It's got a little bit of a brightening agent with it, but it's perfect for just setting places, especially if you don't want a heavy, powdery, cakey feel. Just set it. And then last but not least is going to be our Illuminator. So we're going to use the color Honey. And we're just going to pop that right on a few places. You can be a little more precise and careful when you're putting this on. But since I go back over it with my sponge, I just kind of dab it everywhere and then blend it out. Like this. So that's my face, guys. If you are interested and you want to color match, or you want me to answer any questions that I have, like I said, you can always click the link in my bio. It has a color match form. And then I can tell you exactly what you need from there. You just fill it out. It's really short. Or you can send me a message with a selfie in indirect sunlight, kind of like I am now, so that I can get a true look to see what your skin looks like. But yeah, for what my skin is, I have sunspots, age spots, a few things like that I don't mind some of it peeking through. I have freckling, but my skin feels so good. It feels like I've got on skin. I'm an oily person, so I always use a setting spray to prime with, and then I always finish with a setting spray, and then usually a little bit of that Vanilla Dust powder, and I'm good to go. So if you're interested, you like a color match, please just reach out to me, and I'll be glad to help you. Thanks.